You might think your dog just wants to be cozy, that it's all about soft blankets and warm feet. But what if there's something more behind the way they curl up next to you each night? Maybe you've woken up at 2 a.m. to find that little body pressed right against yours, steady breathing, keeping rhythm with your own. Is it comfort habit? Or something much deeper, something instinctual, ancient, emotional? In the next few minutes, we're going to look at 5 powerful reasons why your dog chooses your bed night after night. And I'll bet number 3 will stay with you long after the video ends. So let's begin, not with science or training tips, but with a moment. The first time your dog, maybe a rescue, maybe nervous, finally climbed into your bed and didn't leave. You remember that night, don't you? Reason 1, it's a survival instinct they still carry. Long before your dog had a name, a collar, or a memory foam bed, their ancestors slept in circles, close together, nose to tail, one ear always listening. Survival meant staying close to the pack, because out there in the dark, anything could happen. That instinct hasn't gone away. No matter how cozy your living room is, or how many toys are in the basket, dogs are wired to sleep, where they feel most secure. And when your dog presses up against you at night, that's their ancient brain saying, "This is my pack. This is where I'm safe." There's actually science to back this up. A 2022 study on canine attachment found that dogs who are emotionally bonded to their humans spend more time in deep restful sleep, especially when they're near them. That's called NREM sleep. It's the kind that lets them truly relax, not just doze with one eye open. Which means that when your dog chooses your bed, they're not just looking for comfort. They're finally letting their guard down. Have you ever noticed how your dog sleeps with their back to you, or stretches their legs out and sighs before drifting off? That's trust. That's survival turned into affection. And here's a question for you. Where does your dog sleep when you're not home? On your side of the bed, curled up in your laundry. It's not random. It's the scent, the space, the safety. You are the center of their world. If this part of the story reminds you of your dog, drop a comment below and tell me their name. I want to know who's the guardian curled up beside you every night. Now let's talk about something even more powerful than instinct. Let's talk about trust. Reason 2. It's how they say, "I trust you with my life." You didn't ask them to. You didn't train them to. But one night, they did it anyway. Quietly, without a sound, they climbed into your bed, circled once, and curled into the crook of your knees. That moment, whether it happened a month after adoption or after years of sleeping apart, meant something. See, in the wild, sleeping next to another being meant risking everything. Because in sleep, you're vulnerable. So when a dog chooses to sleep beside you, it's not just routine. It's a declaration, "I trust you with everything I am." There's science here, too. When dogs feel emotionally close to a human, their brains release oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds a mother to her baby. It's what makes them sigh when you pet them, what makes them melt into your chest after a long day. That's not just comfort. That's biology saying, "You're my safe place." And they know you. Dogs are incredibly attuned to human emotion. A shift in your voice, a sigh you didn't realize you let out the way you sit, just a little heavier on the edge of the bed, they feel it. And they respond. Sometimes they respond by simply being there, by leaning against your shoulder without a word. Have you ever had a night where you didn't want to talk to anyone but your dog stayed right beside you anyway? That wasn't by chance. That was emotional loyalty. That was their quiet way of saying, "You don't have to explain. I'm here." And maybe that's why, for some of us, the first time a rescue dog finally chooses to sleep with us, we cry. Not because we trained them, but because they chose us back. Has your dog ever done that? Given you that quiet gift of trust? Tell me below, because the first time it happens, it stays with you forever. And just wait until you hear what's really happening when your dog lies on your pillow. It's not about fluff. It's about scent territory and something far more primal. Reason 3. Your bed smells like home to them. We think of comfort as softness. Pillows, blankets, warmth. But to your dog, comfort is scent. It's the one thing that never lies. Your smell is how they find you in a crowd, how they know when you're sad, and yes, how they choose where to sleep. A team of researchers once gave dogs 2 identical beds, same shape, same material, but one carried the owner's scent and one didn't. Overwhelmingly, the dogs chose the one that smelled like their person. Not because it was softer, not because it was warmer, but because it felt like home. When your dog lays on your pillow or nestles into the corner of your blanket, they're doing more than seeking fluff. They're surrounding themselves with you. Your scent tells them you're near even when you're not. It calms their heartbeat, slows their breathing, lets them sleep with both eyes closed for once. This matters even more for rescue dogs or those with anxiety. They've known instability. They've known fear. And when they find something safe, when they find you, they don't want to let it go. That's why you'll often find them curled up in your dirty laundry or burrowed under the sheets you just washed yesterday. It's not about cleanliness, it's about connection. And here's something even more beautiful: when they sleep next to you night after night, your scents begin to mix. You become part of their world chemically, biologically. That shared scent becomes a signal to their brain. We belong together. Have you ever caught your dog carrying your sock into their bed? Or burying their face in your old t-shirt? If you have, tell me in the comments. Those tiny moments, they're proof of something deep, something wordless. And speaking of warmth, let's talk about one of the most powerful reasons your dog seeks you out each night. It has to do with biology, but also with healing. Reason 4. Your warmth is healing. Have you ever noticed how no matter the season, your dog finds the warmest spot in the room and stays there? Sometimes it's by the heater. Sometimes it's under the blanket you just used. But most often, it's right next to you. That's not just comfort seeking. That's biology. Dogs naturally run a bit hotter than we do, around 101 to 102.5 Feuder. But what most people don't realize is that warmth for a dog isn't just about temperature. It's about safety, about regulation. Especially for young, small, or anxious dogs, your body heat calms their system, helps them settle. There's research from Johns Hopkins showing that close contact, like cuddling a dog, lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases oxytocin. That calming effect isn't just one way. It goes both directions. When your dog curls against you, they feel safe. And whether you notice it or not, your body does too. This is even more powerful when your dog comes from trauma. I have heard stories, maybe you've lived one of rescue dogs who wouldn't let anyone touch them for weeks. But one night, they tiptoe over. Just a paw on your leg. Then, the next night, they stay longer. And one day, they curl into your chest like they've always belonged there. It's not just warmth. It's healing. It's saying, this feels right. This feels safe. Some breeds are wired for this more than others. A husky might sprawl at the foot of the bed, content in the cold. But a chihuahua, a rescue mix with no undercoat, they'll burrow into your side like their life depends on it, because maybe once it did. So let me ask, has your dog ever tucked themselves so close you could feel their heartbeat? Has that quiet contact ever helped you fall asleep when nothing else could? Tell me in the comments. These aren't just dog habits. They're love stories. But here's the part that surprises people most. Sometimes your dog doesn't sleep next to you because they need something. Sometimes it's because they've chosen something better than their own bed. Reason 5. Your bed is more than just soft, it's love. You bought them the fancy bed. Orthopedic foam, raised sides, soft cover that says machine washable in big letters. But every night, like clockwork, they ignore it. They jump onto yours, head on your pillow, back pressed against your spine. And you wonder why. Because your bed is more than a mattress to them. It's where you are, and where you are feels like love. Dogs are territorial. Not in the possessive way we sometimes fear, but in the emotional sense. In the wild, they chose sleeping spots, carefully ones that kept them close to the pack, with clear sight lines and scent markers that said, "This is my safe space." Now, your bed is that space. They're not just drawn to it for comfort. They're drawn to it for identity, for connection. When they lie on your sheets, your pillow, your blanket, they're not just borrowing softness. They're participating in something shared, something sacred. And for many older owners, maybe for you, that's where the bond becomes unspoken. You didn't ask them to come up. You didn't pat the bed. But one night, they just appeared. Quiet, calm, chose your space, and never left. There's even data behind this. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that while dogs might shift during the night, most owners feel more rested when their dogs are close. Not because sleep was perfect, but because the presence of that small heartbeat, that steady breath, gave them peace. And maybe that's what this is all about. Not dominance, not convenience, but peace, shared night after night. So let me ask you, did your dog claim your bed right away? Or did it take months? Did it happen suddenly or slowly, one paw at a time? Tell me. I'd love to know how you became their safe place. And now that we've gone through the reasons, let's bring this home. Because this story, it ends where it began, with a choice your dog made and the quiet love behind it. So now you know, when your dog curls up next to you every night, it's not just about softness. It's not just about warmth. It's instinct. It's memory. It's biology. But most of all, it's love. That spot on the bed, it's a statement. This is where I'm safe. This is who I belong to. Think back to the very first night they stayed beside you. The night they finally stopped pacing, stopped checking. The door stopped flinching at every sound. The night they sighed, really sighed, and sank into sleep beside you. That moment wasn't about training. It wasn't about comfort. That was about trust, loyalty, and maybe even healing on both sides. Because maybe you needed them just as much. And here's the thing about dogs: they don't fake it. They don't pretend. When they choose to be close, it's real. No games, no conditions, just presence. Not everyone is lucky enough to be chosen by a dog like that. But if your dog sleeps beside you night after night, no matter the weather, no matter the space, you were chosen. And that's not a small thing. So I'd love to know, where does your dog sleep? Have they always curled up close? Or was it something they grew into as the bond deepened? Drop a comment below and share your story. I read every one. Because these aren't just routines. They're moments that tell us who we are to them. And in the next video, we'll go even deeper. I'll show you what your dog's sleeping position says about how they feel about you and what they might be trying to tell you without saying a word. If this story resonated with you, stay with me. There's more to uncover together.